Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to class. Today I'm going to go through a way of using props to support your practice of Setu Bandha Sarvangasana and Parsva Sarvangasana. Now, these are variations in shoulder stand. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana is when you're in shoulder stand and you drop the legs to the floor behind you. And Parsva Sarvangasana is when you use your hand as a platform under the sacrum and you take your legs out sideways. We're going to use a particular prop which can give us a lot of support. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. It really does support me and the offerings that I place here on YouTube. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. You'll note the props that I have here with me. Firstly, I want to bring your attention to the kickboard. The kickboard is a piece of plywood that is quite thick, 19 mils thick. The length is just the standard length that they had at the hardware store. So you see that when I'm standing, it's definitely more than my leg's length. It comes up to almost my chest. And it's pretty much the width of the yoga mat. Then because we're doing shoulder stand and we're doing our variations from shoulder stand, we want to prop the shoulders up with the normal height that we would use. Now, we've got these shoulder stand cushions here in Australia and you can get them from Iyengar Props. And I put a link in the description for a discount using my name, Heather, if you order from Iyengar Props. But if you don't have shoulder stand cushions, you can certainly use blankets to create the height underneath your shoulders so that you can have the freedom to roll your shoulders under, bring in a significant flexion to the neck without overstretching the neck or straining the neck. Now, commonly for shoulder stand, I would put another blanket or two on top, so I've got extra height. Not everyone needs that, but what we're going to do is put the kickboard on top and then an overlapping blanket. But the other end of the kickboard needs to be supported at the same height as the shoulders. So I'm going to use 2 flat bricks. Now I might not get my measurements right with exactly where they need to be just yet, but what you'll also note is that I've got a sticky mat folded over the kickboard so that I can stick to it, my feet can stick to it when I drop back for Setu Bandha. So then I'm going to place this kickboard on the cushions and on the bricks. So I'm aligning the front of the kickboard with the front of the cushions and then just ensuring that these bricks are supporting the other end of the kickboard. Then, because this is a hard edge, obviously it's wood, the sticky mat's offering a little bit of padding, but I'm going to add a little bit more padding with an overlapping blanket, which is what I'll often do for my shoulder stand setup anyway. So the shoulders and the neck will have a nice bit of support here, and the back of the head also, you've got the blanket rather than the sticky mat, so your hair doesn't get stuck on the sticky mat. So you'll note we've got the shoulders the same height as the feet when we drop the legs backwards for Setu Bandha. Now, clearly to drop the legs backward, you need to feel confident in doing that without the support of the wall. We'll also use our belt. Now, I've got a belt that's already measured, and again, Iyengar Props sells these, and otherwise you can just use your cloth belt and measure it so that it's your shoulder width. But we set ourselves for halasana, plow pose, and then shoulder stand. So make sure that your shoulders are coming to the edge, close to the edge, but not over the edge. When you roll over, sometimes the shoulders will want to slip off the edge. So give yourself a little bit of leeway there. Pull your shoulders back a little bit from the edge. Get your belt ready. Just around one arm. And swing your legs up and over for halasana. Now, of course, if it's difficult for you to reach the floor, put a bolster under your feet or put a chair under your feet. Then you'll organise your belt around the other arm, and you can catch the outer edges of the kickboard as you roll your shoulders under and lengthen the front body. So the head of the thighs are pressing up. Now, if you're collapsed, the back of the neck will press sharply down into the edge of the kickboard, and that's uncomfortable, even if you've got the padding of the blanket. So important to roll your shoulders under and press down the upper arm bones from shoulder tip to elbow so that you can rebound the chest up, so the armpit chest, the spine, the sternum, but also take some weight out of the neck. If you're still feeling that the pressure of the kickboard there under the neck is uncomfortable, then walk yourself a little closer to the edge so that there's no pressure. Then the hands can come to support the back and you can take your legs up. Parsva Sarvangasana. The hands supporting the back ribs, not the hips. If the hands are supporting the hips, then you're not going to be able to get a vertical lift. You see the hips are dropping back behind the line of the shoulders and the feet are coming forward beyond the line of the shoulders. But if we can manage, when we press the hips forward, we press the thighs back, we slide the hands down the back closer to the shoulder blades. And sometimes it's helpful to let your t-shirt fall down so that your hands can come, the skin of the hands can come onto the skin of the back, and that can often help you to stay. But now to drop back. The position of the hands is really important. If your hands are too low and you try and drop back, you could potentially hurt your fingers and your wrists. But one thing to note, even if your hands are quite high up the back, close to the shoulder blades, you might find that it's still too strong in the wrists, in which case you turn your hands out and you turn your thumbs out. Your thumbs could come underneath, but it might be strong on your thumbs, so you can curl the fingers and the thumbs up around the outer edges of the ribs. Dropping back may pose a challenge because your hands might not support you enough. But you can take one leg at a time. So at the moment I'm just guiding my back with my inner index fingers, and then one leg can counterlever forward as the other leg moves back. You bend the knee, reaching this foot to the floor, and let the back arch back over your hands. And then both feet can come down onto the kickboard. You can take your feet as wide as the kickboard. That can often help give you more of a sense of being able to power down through the legs and lift the hips. Grip the buttocks, lift the tailbone, roll the inner knees and inner thighs down as the inner feet press down. So the more you're able to lift the hips, the more the breastbone will come towards your chin. So this is the bent leg variation of Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. You can go for a straight leg perhaps. Depends on how long you are, how long your kickboard is. Obviously my feet are going to go over the edge, but if I don't push the toes down, I'm just on the heels, I can work towards straightening the legs. Now, it can be very strong in the wrists, very significant in the back as well. So straightening the legs might not be for everyone. But you can come back to the bent leg, and you could do Ekapada Setu Bandha. So I'd narrow the feet, bring the right knee into the chest, stretch that right leg up straight. Left foot's driving down to give power to the lift in the hips. Then bend the right knee, replace that foot to the floor. Drive the right foot down, lift the hips, draw the left knee to the chest, and then stretch the left leg up. Breathe smoothly. Inner right foot presses down. Then left knee to the chest and replace that foot to the floor. Now for some people, coming up and out of this might mean you've actually got to take your hands off the back and lower the back and the hips down to the kickboard. But others, you'll be able to kick back up. So you can pick one knee to the chest, spring off that back leg and come back into Parsva Sarvangasana. Now for Parsva Sarvangasana, we can turn the body. So we're turning the feet to face the left And the right hand is going to become a platform for the sacrum. But I'll move my elbows across to the right side because I've got a long torso, so I need to give myself that movement there so that the right elbow is further to the right. And then as I lower the hips to the hand, I counterlever the legs forward as if I'm going to do Parsva Sarvangasana, side plow pose. So the feet are going to the left, legs are going to the left, my hips are going to the right, and then I meet the hand with the sacrum. So my sacrum is coming to sit on the right hand. And again, significant in the wrist. It's a significant wrist extension. But then I want to feel that my platform, the hand, is supporting the sacrum enough the legs can come to the vertical. And my feet are pointing towards the left. Then playing with the balance, left leg can stretch out behind, right leg can cantilever forward. Inner left thigh rolls down, so we're preventing that left leg from turning out. And then you can come back to the vertical, and then you could try taking both legs down. And for some of us, we'll only get to a certain point before we feel like we're going to fall. So just take yourself to that point. Use the abdominals. Keep your chest lifted. And then come back up through the vertical, all the way back through Parsva Sarvangasana. Now, if you need to readjust your shoulders, I can feel my right shoulders creeping to the edge of or creeping off the edge. So you can come down through Halasana, readjust your shoulders, and come back up. Now for the other side, you turn so the feet point towards the right. And then you counterlever the feet forward and the hips backwards and prepare the left hand. So the left hand is starting to create a platform and you meet the hand with the sacrum. You see how far forward I'm counterlevering my feet. Again, it's as if I'm going to bring my feet down for Parsva Sarvangasana, side plow pose. And then the sacrum comes to rest on the hand. The middle finger is coming to the tailbone. And so that as I'm sitting on the left hand, the feet are pointing towards the right. Remember, it's called Parsva Sarvangasana, side shoulder stand. And then it's the back leg that goes backwards. So right leg goes back, left leg counterlevers forward. Now I've got the wall here, so I'll just rest my right foot on the wall. I would prefer to take that leg a little further down, but here we are. I set up this close to the wall. And here you're just feeling into the positioning of the wrist. Keep your middle finger on your tailbone. That can help guide the pelvis. And then legs back up to the vertical. Match the inner feet. Can you get ankle bones, big toe bones in contact? And you note the right hand is guiding the outer right waist. Now, as you try for the full pose, Parsva, taking the legs down, you've got to work those abdominals, lift your tailbone up, keep your chest lifted. And then you can come back through the vertical, all the way up, through shoulder stand. Some of you might be confident enough to try for Nirulamba, reaching the hands back to catch the outer edges of the kickboard. Stretching the body up, stretching the legs up. Thighs press back, buttocks press forward. And then we can come down through to Halasana. Now, there is another variation of Parsva Sarvangasana, but it's actually Parsva Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. So I'm going to come out and I'm going to bring a bolster in so that the feet can come out to the sides on a bolster on either sides. I'm just going to interrupt because after recording this, I realized a different hand position can be really helpful for Parsva Sarvangasana when using the kickboard. So I'll give a quick visual of that. So if I'm taking my feet out to the right, I'll firstly twist feet pointing to the left, set the right hand to support the sacrum, take my elbow across to the right, but then the left hand can catch the outer kickboard. And that will help to keep the left shoulder down. So the left shoulder tip pins down as the legs move out to the left, the right. And likewise, on the other side, feet point to the right. The left elbow can move across to the left if needed. The hand can support the sacrum, and then right hand reaches to the outer edge of the kickboard, and then you can counterlever the legs out to the left. But as you're holding the outer kickboard, the right shoulder tip stays down. You will note I've got these two bolsters and they're set diagonally alongside the kickboard. And so if you look at it from this perspective, you're sitting close to where the head goes. The bolsters are pointing, it's an arrow pointing to the end of the kickboard. And then we can come back and organise ourselves for shoulder stand. Standing on the tops of the shoulders. Now we go through Parsva. So turning the feet to the left, I take my right elbow further out to the right. Remember I said that's because I've got a long spine and I need the right arm to go a little further out to the side. Now we can go through that one leg position. So left leg draws back, right leg forward, and then I'm reaching for the bolster. So left foot can find the bolster and then right foot can come to the bolster. So basically I'm setting the feet up to be about the height of the shoulders. If I was to reach the feet to the floor, it would be stronger in the wrist and in the back, so elevating the feet. But we're sideways and we're trying to keep the head straight. Then we can come up. So you pick the right leg up, draw the right knee over to the left side, so you're coming up through Parsva and then through Parsva Sarvangasana, and you set your wrist. You can, for me, again, I need to take my elbow across to the left side a little so that the length of my torso is supported. Now the right leg goes back, left leg forward, and then you can bend that right knee, reach your foot down to find the bolster, and then the left leg can come down. Now this might be too strong for you, in which case, of course, you can build up the height. You could potentially use chairs for the feet. But the inner knees roll down. The tailbone is lifted. Even though the middle finger is there on the tailbone, the hand is supporting the lift of the sacrum. Then to come out, you pick that left knee up. Left knee comes towards the right chest as you come up, and then all the way up through Sarvangasana. And then we can come down through Halasana and all the way down. We roll down and slip the shoulders off the support. Shoulder blades roll down the back towards the waist, and you can keep the knees bent just so that the lower back settles down. After a few breaths here, then you can roll over to the side and come to sit up. If you enjoy practicing with me, I invite you to subscribe to the Iyengar Practice Hub, which is my online video library. I put the link in the description box below. Start your subscription with a 7-day free trial. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. For full-length classes, check out the Iyengar Practice Hub, heatherkitchenyoga.com. The link is in the description box below.